top left-hand corner of the map, Ohana, we have our red Terran player from the team compLexity. It is Trimaster, his opponent in the lower right-hand corner. And that's from the team Prime. No, obviously, it's not Ghost King himself. That is the Blue Protoss player Classic. I assume they're playing on the NA server, and Beyond just must have an account there, so Classic is using it.
Yeah, bringing out the captain here to start things off. Obviously, you know, it's actually really interesting because you were talking about Trimaster and how he has like this great versatile, you know, across all matches, and that's typically also what you see in coaches. They tend to be players who have a good understanding of all the matchups, and just they may not be the best players necessarily, but they have a really good. They're good at finding weaknesses and helping other people improve them. Of course, you know, it makes them a great coach, but you definitely have to have a broad understanding. So, Classic also, you know, kind of a good all-around play here from Prime.
And I admit, slightly biased. I've known Trimaster for quite a while. Back when he was playing with a clan called 11 Gaming. That was the first team that I ever started doing casting for.
It's like 2008?
That was, no, that would have been, that was 2010.
All
so,
right,
2010.
Right. Same year, all right.
Yeah, and so...
Wait, did you start casting in 2010?
Yes, I did. Yes,
cool.
I did. I was on the radio for 3 years before that in college.
Well,
but
I mean, that
I'd never
shows,
done,
so.
so I'd had the on mic or... Yes, on-air experience, but I had not had the StarCraft experience yet.
Morning announcements in middle school.
Nice. I did those too. our drama club was the one who actually did all those all the time.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
yeah, I was a drama club nerd.
I did join that separately. I wasn't so good at singing, though.
I wasn't. Whenever we did a musical, I just played the piano.
There you go.
All right, so Trimaster...
You're pretty good at, by the way, in case you guys don't know.
Thank you. Well, you're not too shabby yourself, so...
Yeah, I dabble. We'll leave it at that. Anyhow, guys.
Yeah, it looks like a 1-Rex gasless fast expand for Trimaster, and I'm not sure if he's going to build his second command center inside of his base or he's going to send another SCV out there. A lot of players have just been deciding to go ahead, throw it down on the low ground. It doesn't really matter, but in this case, it looks like it's going to be built right at home. No, actually, it's just going to be a little bit late more than anything else.
Yeah, you know, not too surprising here. 1-Rex expand is so solid on Ohana. It's really, really safe. It's honestly safe in anything now. But, you know, that's because of the current shift in meta, and actually because everybody's been playing so greedy, we've actually been seeing a lot more people do these fancy one-base plays. It's happening more and more often, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing, like, a real permanent shift in the metagame because people are finding a lot of success with these fancy one-base maneuvers.
You know, it's very cyclical, this game, just in its very nature, as we see a second gas coming down for Classic now, so not going after that super quick expansion. Of course, a lot of Protoss players will just cut off gas once they get a read on what their opponent is doing, but of course we see no probe scout this entire game. So, looks like this SCV does get picked up on, sees the pylon in the top right-hand corner, so of course Trimaster will know that, you know, if there's any tech to be had because he sees 2 gas, he'll probably be scanning in this sort of an area just to check that pylon again.
Yeah, waiting until it goes down, and in fact, a Nexus is going to be dropped down by Classic. A little surprising, but, you know, he's going to have a lot of gas to follow this up. So one, tech route with a lot of sentries where, you know, we could see like a Twilight Council Robo or, you know, these, even a Stargate play is definitely possible here out of Classic.
Yeah, it's definitely right. He's not decided to go for too many sentries yet. Does he have one queued up? No, so we may see that Twilight Council even into a, you know, Dark Shrine expands have actually been a thing recently. Be a little bit harder to pull off now as it's starting to fall a little bit late and we have more gateway units that are on the map now. But, you know, it's still certainly something that Trimaster would have to be aware of. He's decided to go for double gas after his 3 racks. Now, is he going to prioritize upgrades and get an engineering bay, or are we going to see him just kind of rocket up in a factory tech and try and hit a quicker 2 medevac drop kind of thing?
Yeah, that's always a really, really good play on these maps that have really large mains. I mean, you take a look at the size of Ohana, you have all this area at the top. It just makes you so vulnerable to drop play in the early stages. Now, the harass base drop is a little bit tougher. The mineral line's tucked away all in the back, so if you're doing it later on, it can be a little bit more challenging. But
yeah, I agree.
You know, landing it in the beginning when your opponent doesn't really have their main full, it's so easy to sneak up there and get your units on the ground.
Classic's going up to gateways number 2 and 3, and his Twilight Council just finished up. He's not thrown down. Okay, there we go. There's going to be a robotics facility on the way. No sense of what sort of tech is going to come as a result of this, and it is a Dark Shrine, just a very late one.
That's all right. So, I mean, like Twilight Robo, it's not uncommon at all. It's a really, really nice setup to have if you want to play a game with a lot of control. You're going to have a lot of mobility if you go for Blink Stalkers. You're going to have map control if you go for the Zealots, of course. And you can get out some Observers and you can tech away to Colossi if you want. But the Dark Shrine definitely throws a wrench into the cogs here. We're going to have to see what Classic intends to do with this. It could just be, you know, some general harass or third denial, but it could be something more intricate.
Yeah, I mean, with this Robo finishing up, maybe we're going to have some sort of a big DT drop. Of course, he'll need those 200 minerals to be able to throw that up. And looks like there's 200. And there's a War Prism. So we are going to have a DT drop. That War Prism will actually hit nicely as it's being chrono boosted out and start flying across the map as the first couple, or as the Dark Shrine actually finishes. So has a nice timing here, but of course he is sacrificing a lot of the frontline power of his army to get this done.
Yeah, he definitely will be. And Trimaster did opt for a reasonably fast stim here, as we can see it's about to complete. So Trimaster needs to, Classic needs to make sure he has some semblance of a defense at home. And we do see he's actually continuing to warp in sentries here, which is just a great decision. We don't see the fastest medevacs here. The starport just finishing now at 8:30, and you can have 2 medevacs out at 8:30. So I mean, Trimaster, he's not rushing them out by any means, focusing on the stim instead, and Classic should be okay versus that.
And nice job by Trimaster to pick up a Stalker in the middle of the map. Gets that, decides to duck back home. Looks like we'll have enough DTs here in a second to almost completely load up this War Prism. There's the potential even that as we see more forges and stuff like that coming on the way, scan goes down. What does it reveal? Nothing, actually, because this is the critical tech he needs to see.
Yeah, that's a nice scan for Classic, actually. Not getting really... He also did not see the robotics bay go down. Here comes that Dark Templar, and it's actually just going to... Oh, nope, it does get picked off, catching the edge of the range there. But here are the DTs now, Kevin. What damage are they going to be able to get done? There's no missile turret in the main.
Well, they haven't done a whole lot so far. Nice scan picks off the one that was going after the tech lab with combat shields. This DT is certainly going to be annoying, maybe able to grab a supply depot here in a second, but missile turrets are coming up, and so far Trimaster hasn't taken that much damage. I've really got to compliment Classic's macro, though, behind all of this. He's got his robotics bay on the way. Even though he doesn't have a third base quite yet, he's been able to take advantage of this in different situations, just pinning his opponent back at home.
Yeah, one of the things here is Trimaster went for this very fast stim, and that's a phenomenal build. If you want to be out moving around the map, if you find yourself in a dangerous situation, you just stim and run away. If you catch your opponent in a bad position, you stim forwards and kill everything. But here, Trimaster has been forced to not be able to capitalize on the advantages that the tech path he went for offers.
All right, well, the Dark Templar is sitting at the back, but you're absolutely right, because, Trimaster's been pinned in. He's got his Air Command Center up, yes. He has Ghost coming up, yes, but he's also investing in his Ghost and not his Air Tech at exactly a time when his opponent is switching into Colossi. So, with 6 gates, with Colossi, even with the temporary delay that was put in place with the Dark Templar, still has a very strong army that's starting to assemble.
Yeah, and this is actually really nice for Classic, too, because Trimaster, he went for the later medevacs. I mean, they weren't extremely late or anything, but they weren't quick medevacs. And now he's making this really fast shift into Colossi. And, well, the medevac count's pretty low, so he doesn't really want to shift into Vikings quite yet. As such, we're not seeing any out of Trimaster yet.
All right, looks like the first Colossus is hit. More Colossi coming up afterwards. And, yeah, you're exactly right. He's got Mobius Reactor, and that's where most of his resources are going to be expended in. Getting that ground force up to snuff, which the Colossi are going to do pretty devastating damage to. And I don't think we can actually take a look at his vision. He doesn't know about this yet. Oh, there he goes. Okay, he scans and sees the Colossus now. Yeah,
that was actually really important because, I mean, your opponent goes Dark Templar. A very reasonable transition for them there is into Archons or Storms or, not really expecting the Colossi there, but it's not a far jump away from a Warp Prism play. So good scan there for Trimaster. It was really important he saw that. Now we see he is starting up the Vikings, but he also needs to make medevacs. They're being made too.
And Classic had a probe which perfectly scouted this 3 medevac drop, and he got all of his units in position. So Classic not going to take any damage from this. Now, the one thing that Trimaster does have going for him, yes, he's a little behind on his tech switches, but he's already got his Ghosts in place. The big thing, though, is that this third base is up and starting to get saturated right now. The Nexus has only just now started for Classic, so even though he has a pretty decent advantage in a lot of respects, Trimaster has his opportunity now in the next couple of minutes to really catch up.
Yeah, Trimaster's sitting on 0-0 still, right? I see he's building an engineering bay.
He's got 1-1.
No, okay. So he just wrapped up that second engineering bay. Now he's going to be able to start up 2-2 then when this armory completes. That's actually a little dangerous for Classic because...
Nice.
Oh, wow. Nice victory there for Trimaster.
Yeah, it picks up. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. You're saying just a great EMP presence of mind to pick up on that Dark Templar. That's an underrated feature of a lot of the casting units, of course, is that you can reveal things with both fungal and an EMP. So underrated feature there of those casting units.
Ah, it really is. So many times it comes into use in a little bit of a pickle situation, but it's Terrans. They just don't make Ravens.
But Ravens are so good. I love Ravens. I don't know. It seems like every StarCraft broadcaster is just pining for more Raven usage at all times. Or pro players are like, no. Why would we make those in certain circumstances? But I just want to see them used in every matchup. I don't care if they're good. Yeah, I know. I don't care if they're good. I just want to see them.
Yeah. It's kind of like observers. It's like, why are you making more observers? Because I'm too busy making Colossi.
Right.
It's really the same principle of mine.
And too busy making Colossi indeed. But look at this. Classic, of course, going for that very traditional switch right afterwards, setting up for Charge Lot Archon, get his opponent to overcommit to Vikings. Oh, you dealt with my Colossi, but can you deal with this huge follow-up of Archons? Oh. Now, Trimaster does have a little bit going for him in that regard.
Yeah.
He's already set up that tech switch. He already has it. He already has Ghosts on the map with pretty full energy. So at the drop of a hat, he can just immediately start pumping out Ghosts. So that gives Trimaster a real fighting advantage there.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, some Zealots coming in now, going to get a little bit of harass done. But Trimaster is just in a fantastic spot right now. He's got every tech path covered. The only thing that's a little bit lacking is the size of his bio ball. We are seeing he's pretty down on supply because of all the tech he's invested right now.
Yeah.
I am surprised to see him pushing out across the map, but it's a feasible engagement. He just needs to land everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a little slow on his macro. I mean, overall through the game, but that's the only thing you can kind of knock him for. Classic does have a pretty sizable force, and now the economy is a little bit in his favor. Yes, our mule's down, so the mineral income is going to be very similar, but just having the sheer amount of workers necessary to reproduce.
Nice.
And this is a pretty big win right here for Classic as well. This force is going completely unopposed.
Yeah, and it looks like Trimaster, he's actually starting to move back home with his army at this time. These Zealots are going to clean up the Marines. He may be able to force the cancel on this command. Not focusing. If he were actually targeting that down, he could, but yeah, these Zealots will be dealt with.
Oh, nice job ducking the Ghost right into this bunker. And the last couple of Zealots are going to die. Not too much else that Classic can do about that, but the damage was done. That allows him to safely take a fourth base. It allows him to start positioning himself in the middle of the map. It bought all the time and did the economic damage he needed. Great little counterattack there, or I guess a little run-by for
really,
Classic.
I mean, it's a testament to how beautiful StarCraft is in that regard, that 3 Zealots can just change everything.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, Trimaster now is pushing forward. Looks like he's going to very quickly pick off the first couple of Colossi. He gets his Vikings a bit too far forward out of position, though, and the Stalkers are able to deal with a couple of them, but Trimaster did a nice job of hitting those follow-up EMPs, and we'll see now if Trimaster's attack is going to be worthwhile if he can do the damage that he wants.
Oh, that storm, Kevin! Half of that army is, well, now at half life, the entire thing, excuse me, and now coming in from the back is Classic Prime. His Zealots coming forward. Yes, he's taking some heavy fire right now from the Vikings, though, trying to cut. Oh, in fact, all of his Colossi go down.
Oh, but the storms are still available from the Templar around the side, and Trimaster's force is being whittled down slowly but surely. He's got a lot of resources banked up, and I don't know if he has the infrastructure to take advantage of all this. Oh, 1 medevac goes down. 2 more are standing, but Trimaster still takes a big hit to his army.
Oh, he definitely did. And now, I mean, Classic, he lost all the Colossi, but look at the supply counts at this moment. 164 to 118. Trimaster, I mean, this is wow, why Protoss versus Terran, guys. The population should be relatively equal to each other, and well, we're seeing a huge advantage currently in Classic Prime's favor.
All right, well, Trimaster's trying to reassemble any semblance of his forces. He's not actually queued up on some of these barracks. Thought he would have been, but it looks like he's gone through most of his bank already. Trimaster needs to be able to get down a 4th base, but at the exact moment where you lose your entire army, there's just no safety in doing so. And in fact, not only is he not going to take that base, he's going to lose his 3rd.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble right now. Trimaster has to try to scramble, get something together here. I mean, is there really anything he can do at this point? Drop a 4th and just bunker? There aren't Colossi here, I guess.
Yeah, but it's really rough
There's
at
a
this
War
stage.
Prism in his vein, so...
Hopefully the Warp Prism can get out of range there, but it does alert Trimaster to its presence, and it looks like he's going to make his way back. No forces dropping down. Apparently that's just serving as a distraction while the rest of the forces get in position for Classic in the middle of the map.
I mean, I left my cell phone standing on a newspaper stand in the rain once, so
yeah.
Well, forgetting a Warp Prism isn't nearly as bad, right?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know, but it could mean everything. No, actually it won't. Classic's just in too good of a spot right now. He's going to clean up this natural. The rest of the forces are in a pretty decent position for Trimaster because there's no storms available. If there was any sort of splash, that would have been really bad for Trimaster, but since there wasn't, he was able to pretty cost-efficiently deal with that force at the front. Continuing to kill this, though, that's a completely another story.
Nice. Storm gets a lot of those units down into the red. Now, with the Colossi joining the Vikings going down, this should be it. He's going to have no way to kill this Colossus. Yeah, he's got the Zealots necessary to tank for it here as well. He's even got a couple of sentries left.
All right, so that Colossus is doing work at the back. Missile turret melts. Trimaster is down at just one base, and he's pushing everything out to try and take this down. Storm actually not taking too much. There we go. Now it ravages the rest of the SCVs. 44, 45 workers killed to 0. Classic has not lost a single worker in this game. And it looks like Trimaster, unfortunately, is going to fall in game number 1. And there it is. Prime is up 1-0.
Solid game there out of Classic, without a doubt. I mean, so much of it came down to, you were talking about it in the beginning, the harass. And the fact that Trimaster went for a really quick stim, guys, and when you can't move out of the map because you're too busy dealing with a not very invested play. I mean, it was, it was Warp Prism Dark Templar, but he expanded behind it. And
yeah, I mean, he did a pretty good job of making sure that he wasn't going to overextend himself. It still could have gotten him in trouble. I think that Trimaster had still found himself in a decent position because he held off that harass pretty well. Yeah. He didn't take a whole lot of damage. Now, he wasn't obviously inflicting any of his own because his drops were picked up on very quickly, but there were moments in that game where they were on pretty equal footing, but Trimaster had an earlier third base. He had a lot more resources available, so there was an opening for him, but unfortunately just wasn't able to make it work.
That engagement was really tough, too, starting off with those 2 storms that just melted like hot butter, melted his whole army.
Yeah.
We'll see if the next player can do it here. Looks like they're bringing out Hart.
That's right, going from one Terran player to another, but a very good Korean Terran player at that. We're going to run to a commercial break, and when we get back, it'll be time for game number 2 now between Prime and compLexity.